Hi, folks, and welcome back. It's great to have you here. Rush Limbaugh, the EIB Network, the Limbaugh Institute Advanced Conservative Studies, where we endeavor, and we pull it off, have more fun than a human being should be allowed to have. Telephone number if you want to be on the program is 800-282-2882. Email address lrushbo@eibnet.com. I probably am going to be talking about all of this today in a little different way than what you're going to hear anywhere on cable news. The problem with anybody that's in the news business, and I don't care where they are, is that they get caught up in the narrative that's established for the day inside the Beltway, whoever establishes it. And they miss, in my opinion, the big picture. So now everybody is analyzing this on television within the political framework of who does it help and who does it hurt. And how can it help Obama? Did he save himself? Did he make it worse for himself? What about the Democrats? What should the Republicans do? Which I'm going to comment on in a moment. And everybody, I think, is missing that this is an already abject failure. It can't be fixed. It has done irreparable damage. And in order to prevent any more, it just needs to be stripped and repealed. Now, I know Obama's not going to do that. I'm not being unrealistic. But the pressure needs to be kept on Democrats not to find a way to make this acceptable to them. If we are to actually have a way of getting rid of this, it remains unconstitutional. I mean, even the Wall Street Journal headline, Obama will allow. Obama can't allow anything in this regard. Obama does not make the law. He does not determine. His oath of office is to uphold it, and he's in violation, folks. He is not upholding the law. He is changing it willy-nilly by granting waivers, any number of things. Promising you can keep your plan and then not letting you, and then reinstating your plan, but no mention of what the premium is going to cost you. None of this is permissible under the Constitution. This is the kind of authoritarianism that our founders stridently feared and tried to do everything they could to prevent. And it's an absolute disaster. People have been irreparably harmed by this. They've lost their jobs because of this. Companies have laid people off to stay in compliance with this law. People have been laid off so that the company can stay in business because of the punitive damage this law inflicts on businesses. Insurance companies have pretty much seen their epitaph written for them years out, but they have just been told that they're not going to exist. So they're trying to maximize what they can before that day comes. People have been converted from full-time jobs to part-time jobs in order to comply with the law. Some people have been given waivers. The unions don't have to play ball with this. Self-insured people don't have to play ball with this. It isn't fair, it isn't equitable, and it isn't solving anything. All it is doing is making a real mess that is hurting real people. In every way this law touches people, it harms them. There are no benefits. If there were, the drive-bys would have a parade of people on TV day and night singing this law's praises and talking about how their lives were saved by the law, or their kid's life was saved by the law, or they got a kidney because of the law. That doesn't happen. Nobody has a success story here. It's an absolute mess. It can't be fixed. And there lies the pitfall for the Republican Party. The Republican Party, I really believe, suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder. From years and years of bullying and the Republican Party is Jonathan Martin. The Democrat Party and the media are Richie Incognito. The Republican Party is afraid of itself. It's afraid of what it believes. It's afraid to speak up. It's afraid to oppose. It's afraid to do anything for fear of what's going to be said about it. for fear of, you have very few Republicans with the actual courage to stand up and oppose this totalitarianism. And look what happens to them. Ted Cruz, Mike Lee, thankfully, they're undaunted by it. But the Republicans, because of this, and post-traumatic stress disorder is just the way I'm characterizing it. I just try to be illustrative here. But they clearly are in a state of shock. It's either that, there's only one other alternative. The other alternative is they want the law to survive. That, of course, may be a reality. Some Republicans may be entrenched enough in the Washington establishment that they want the law to survive, that they want government to have this kind of role in people's lives and in society. Who knows? But I think for many of them, they're just scared. I think that there's an abject fear of standing up, particularly to Obama, but Democrats in general. I know there's fear of the media. The Republicans have been full-fledged intimidated. So the pitfall for them, I think, is that they want to be seen participating in the fix for Obamacare because they think that there is political gain to be made there. They are under the impression, and the way I visualize this, or I should better say illustrate this, the Democrats propose something, whatever it is, and the Republicans never say no. The Republicans are obsessed with, well, we got to have an alternative. They're always on defense. They're always reacting. There is not proactive Republican policy anymore. They're always reacting, and it's, I think, comes from the assumption, I really do believe, that they believe they are a genuine minority, that most people in the country, not just the media and the Democrats, don't like them, think they're unhip, uncool, oddball extremist weirdos, and they don't like that, of course. But as the minority, they feel naturally defensive about things. So Obama proposes this massive health care plan. The media makes it look like everybody in America wants it, but the polling data has been clear on this. The American people, by majority after majority after majority, have never wanted it, have never liked Obamacare. There's not been a single poll since the early days of this that show a majority of people wanting it. The 2010 midterms were all about Obamacare, and massive numbers of America showing up to polls to vote against it and the debt that Obama was piling up, called the Tea Party. So there is this temptation that the Republicans have in this posture that they occupy, that the Democrats propose something, in this case Obama, who they think is universally loved, and they think he's universally respected because of his race, and they feel it's not worth opposing him because of his race. It's not worth to do that. So here's this plan. It's an absolute mess. It's a total failure. And the worst thing the Republicans could do right now is be working in a way that would help fix this. The Republican Party should not be seen as part owners of this. I don't think the Republican Party should do anything to salvage this. I don't think there's anything in it for them to be seen as working with the Democrats to make this work. Nothing electorally. Just like being for amnesty and immigration reform is not going to help them. But they believe it is, do they not? Why is that? Because I think they feel defensive, shell-shocked, PTSD, what have you. What the Republicans need to be doing is taking advantage of all of this chaos. And it's unconstitutional. It is what's happening here is not happening according to the law. The Republicans ought to be working to scrap this. They ought to be working to repeal this. That's what a majority of the American people want. And I continue to sit here in amazement, as I said for many months now. You have this majority of the American people opposed to it, and it seems to me that is a large number of Americans the Republican Party could connect with on a fundamental issue and become the champions of the people who oppose this. It seems to me from outside the Beltway, of course, as made to order for a party that wants to come back to life. You've got an issue that a vast majority of people oppose, and now they really don't like it and are angry at it. They have been they've lost their jobs, they've lost income, they have lost their insurance. I mean, the opportunity to be the white knight and come in and say today is not the Landrieu bill, which I'm going to get to in a minute. The Democrats think the white knight here is the Landrieu bill because the Landrieu bill would reinstate your policy forever, not just a year. That's why I think a lot of Democrats might end up rejecting what Obama proposed today and go with her bill. But I'll tell you about her bill in detail in a minute because it dovetails with Fred Upton's bill that's going to be voted on Friday. Of course, I don't know. What Obama did today might totally upend the Upton bill. But we'll see. Tomorrow is Friday, and we've got a lot to try to analyze here on the program today, plus get your calls in. Here's the point. The Republicans need to be pushing for total repeal, and they should settle for nothing that helps fix this. They should not. I can't understand even why they would want to be seen as being part of the fix when this is causing the Democrat Party and Obama's precious relationship with the American people to unravel. The same people who just a month ago were saying, don't do anything, Ted, don't do anything, Mike, just stand aside, it's going to implode. They're now saying we could be watching the end of liberalism. Dr. Krauthammer on Fox, we could be watching the end of liberalism here. George Will thinks we could be watching. Well, if we are, then don't try to fix this. Don't try to be seen as big people. If you really believe that this signifies the end of liberalism, and what do they mean by that? What they mean by that is that the American people, after 100 years, well, let's say 50, what they mean, the people who are saying this could be the end of liberalism, what they mean is that the American people, the low information voters, are finally going to see what a wreck big government, liberalism, and the Democrat Party are. If they're saying that, that's what they believe. The end of liberalism means that the people who vote for it finally wake up and see what a disaster is and no longer do. If that's what you believe, then do not make one move to try to fix this. Don't move in to try to be the white knight that helps save the policy that was canceled. That's the trap. Now Obama's proposed, oh, you know what? You want to keep your plan? All right. For another year. I can see Republicans wanting in on that action. I can see Republicans wanting to be seen as helping you keep your plan. Total mistake. If they believe this is the end of liberalism, then they had better stand aside and let it implode like they told us a month ago, 6 weeks ago, it would do. That's when they said to Cruz and Lee, don't do anything. Get out of the way. Don't try to repeal it. Don't try to defund it. You can't win that vote anyway. Don't try to delay it. You can't win it. It's going to implode. Okay, then why are the Republicans so desirous of helping fix it? Some Republicans. It isn't fixable, is the point. It's already broken beyond repair. It cannot be fixed because it cannot work, as Obama has promised and as the Democrats have promised. It just can't. And we're living that truth. It's not because I'm saying it that it does. Is it working now? Every day there's a new piecemeal Band-Aid fix for that problem or that problem. The website doesn't work. Where is the evidence that there's any foundational indication this works? There isn't. It can't. By design, it can't work. This is not the role of government. I think what Obama did today, this whole thing is ultimately pointless, except from the political standpoint of maybe saving his bacon. Well, he's not up, but his party's bacon. This is an affront to freedom-loving people. The damage that's been done to people. Obama keeps talking about the Democrats. It's only 5%. It's 15 million people. I thought they loved everybody. I thought they're the ones that had compassion for everybody. But now 5%, 15 million people. Well, that's maybe the cost of doing business. Really? These are real people. Real children. Real illnesses they get. They've been led to believe by the Democrat Party one illness is the end of their life. Financial ruin is on the other side of one illness. I mean, what they've done to people, the things they have told people, they're doing it to football. They're creating in football. It's a death game. More and more people now are not going to let their kids. It's a death game. It's instant death. It's instant. They're doing it all over again with practically everything in our culture. Everything is a crisis. Everything is death. Everything is vile sickness unless you let them run your life. But they can't. Okay, I'm going to take a break here, and we'll come back and start interspersing your phone calls. At some point here, the alternative, I mean, that's what, in my mind, with the Republicans, is stay out of this. Don't fix it. It can't be. Don't have this desire of being seen as compromising and helping make it work. The American people don't want this. Bring yourselves back to life and come up with a solution that repeals this and leads people out of this muck here, gives them their lives back. On the other side, though, is the Democrats and what they want to do and how they react to this. We'll get to that at some point, but I want to get your phone calls in first, so don't go away.